Say, Roland,
Mm-hmm.
why is the Magic Academy segregated?
Why?
Because they don't tolerate black magic.
Racist.
Yeah. Hi, everyone!
Hi, and welcome to the Dead Red Herring Podcast.
Oh, yes. With your host, the shitlords in the basement.
Yeah, Magnus.
And Roland.
Yes.
Can't see that, but we were pointing at each other.
Pointing at yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Maybe we should start recording this for some, I don't know,
Have a camera.
a special occasion.
Yeah.
Just to prove our innocence. Not saying we've done anything, it's just...
We were just following orders. We were just following orders.
Oh god, it's spiraling already.
Alright.
I don't really like concentration camps. My grandpa, he died in a concentration camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he fell out of the guard tower.
Oh. Oh, bless.
Oh no.
Yep, off to a good start.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. We weren't supposed to be talking about dark humor and really edgy jokes, but here we go anyways.
We just fell into it.
Yeah, for some reason. Maybe we should do an episode on that at some point.
Yeah, in the near future.
Yeah, whenever we're ready to just get blocked by everyone.
When we can afford it.
Well, still got our day jobs. Well, I do at least.
I don't.
No.
I'm a parasite on the society.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
Therefore, this time, we're actually going to talk about world building.
Segway!
Yes!
Ooh.
No! Fantastic! World building, lore, myth, and stuff like that.
Yes.
I love putting a ribbon on a subject like that.
It's fantastic.
I know.
So yeah, we're gonna talk a bit broadly about the subject.
Yeah,
This
because
one?
I mean, this is a big one.
Yeah.
We can do several episodes. If people like this, we might actually do that.
Yeah. Delving deeply into the different subjects.
Exactly. But just for starters, we'll take a broad look at it.
An aperitif,
Yes.
so to speak.
Nice. But yeah, I'm not really sure how we really came into it, but I think the one reason is that both you and I, we sort of do this in our spare time because we both play a lot of role-playing games.
Yep.
Both the electronic one and the more classic tabletop with dice and stuff.
Yes.
And we both have our own homebrews.
We do actually, yeah.
You have a superhero role-playing game, and
Yeah.
I have well, it's not really just a steampunk, but
Well, it's a bit broad, like
yeah.
steampunk, 1920 plus, gaslight fantasy-ish.
Yeah.
It's a bit broad, but
Yeah.
but then again, mine is broad too, so...
Yeah. Broad brushes.
Mm.
So the thing with world building and lore, it sort of comes natural.
Exactly.
And I guess that's one way of opening up to this whole thing.
Yeah.
I also think that it comes a bit from the fact that, at least in my case, whenever there is something in a book or a movie or something like that sort of doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
I'm ready to point that out.
Violently.
Yeah.
Flamboyant.
I think I could do my own show just ranting and raving about inconsistencies in movies. Just put me there with a cam and I'll go to town.
We have a chair and a whiskey on the rocks and just record.
No. You don't put, well, rocks in this case as ice. You don't put ice in whiskey. You could actually do the actual rocks.
Yeah, I know. Chill down a rock or
Yeah.
a piece of metal also works.
Exactly.
And,
but no water. Well, you can actually add 1 drop of water to actually get the taste and fragrance of the whiskey to puff up.
yeah.
But no more.
No.
Oh, yeah.
And that world building is like, wait. Whiskey, world building, what?
Well, when you're building world, you need brew.
You need whiskey.
Yeah. You need some strong shit.
Oh, wait a second. Glug. Okay. Magic.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, inconsistencies.
Yeah,
Did you have anything specific in mind?
You want to make me go on a rant about Harry Potter, don't you?
I'm just waiting for it now.
What's actually gonna wait for that thing?
We're getting to that, I suppose.
But yeah, okay, let me put it like this. When it comes to world building, in fiction or for games or whatever, there has to be a logic. It doesn't need to be our world logic. Like, you don't need to follow all of the natural laws.
Yeah.
That in the way we have. Sure,
Exactly.
I do like them, but if you're actually gonna ignore them for some reason, make it logical in the sense that, yeah, sure, I can believe that.
Suspension of disbelief, I
Yeah.
suppose.
And I have no problems with magical systems. I have no problems with sentient machines and stuff like this. I mean, I'm a sucker for the Warhammer 40K universe, and
Of course.
we have all the weird stuff in there.
Just full of it.
Yeah. But when it comes to, for example, Harry Potter,
Yeah.
here we go. I do not like that book series for the simple reason that J.K. Rowling does not know what consistency is. She never, ever, to my knowledge, explains what you actually are able to do with the magic, what the limitations of the magic is, and why it does or does not work.
Well, I suppose, to be fair, like, she explains what it can do. A lot what it can do, but like you said, she doesn't explain the limitations to it. And it's sometimes like all over the place.
And also, her magical world is... there are so many plot holes in it. Like, there's supposed to be this society within the society that isn't really in the society because it's sort of in a different dimension within the society, but still is not in the society. It's like...
Explain!
Yeah. And, again, I don't really have an issue with that. I have an issue with the inconsistency of it.
Changing in
it
each and every
all
book.
over.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can you have a world within a world that changes from time to time without there being anyone raising an eyebrow going like, hey, wait a minute?
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure, the focus is on the story.
Yeah.
It's in the tale of Harry Potter and everything like that, but the world is a real big factor to the story.
Yeah.
It's like, the reason I'm all up in flames right now about the Harry Potter thing is that our female companions, so to say, well, my fiance and your girlfriend, they were watching one of the Harry Potter movies, and it was, came in when the scene of they were at the big Quidditch game.
Yeah, it was the fourth movie at the Quidditch World Cup. And it was when the Death Eaters sort of showed themselves and wreaked havoc, made a terror attack, so to speak.
Yeah,
because it's
and everybody's running around, going all in panic, and no one does anything. And I'm like, hold on a minute, hold on here. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't so glamorous, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, here's my pet peeve with this. It's that you have a whole population that is schooled with magic.
Yeah.
The art of magic and actually trained self-defense and stuff like that. How come not a single fucker does something? I'm not saying that everyone should just pull their wands and go apeshit on the Death Eaters. I'm just saying there should be some people actually doing something.
Some resistance, some self-defense, something.
And we talked about the point that not too long ago there was a war within the Wizard Society.
Yep.
And therefore, in my way of thinking, there should be some veterans from this conflict.
Yeah.
Now, let's just say for simple math that maybe 1 in 100, even 1 in 1,000 something like that,
Yeah.
was an active participant, a soldier in this conflict. And let's say that a lot of these veterans might be suffering from some sort of PTSD or whatever, making them not really capable of handling the stress of conflict or combat anymore.
Yeah.
There would still be, in my opinion, a sufficient number that would go into combat mode and actually
trying to do something.
Yeah, resist, do something, handle the apparent attack made by a small group.
Yeah.
Because, again, these are people that, at least from my understanding, usually carries their magical wands with them.
Yeah, it's exactly sort of the equivalent of a cell phone nowadays. Everyone has one in their pockets. I totally agree. It's explained a little bit more. Here I go, like going to nerd, but it explains more in the book.
Yeah.
No, but it actually explains a little bit more in the book.
Yeah.
But that also beckons the question. There must be at least a handful of people, at least some of the ministry orders, as they called, the agents, dark wizard hunting agents, some orders that can do something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it raises a lot of questions, but well, it's a very simplistic story, so to speak. But
it's meant for kids.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Still doesn't save it from being picked apart. But the bigger issue with all of this, just set Harry Potter aside, put him back under the stair where he belongs. The big thing here is that when it comes to making a world or a story believable in a way that it doesn't have to be real, it just have to be believable. That you say as a reader or a film connoisseur that I buy this.
Yeah,
I understand why, and I accept this to be the way things are done.
Yeah.
When inconsistencies, plot holes, and stuff like this breaks the suspension of disbelief, and instead, or at least it makes me question stuff.
Yeah, when like for example, when a author or anything similar to that breaks the entire world consistency just to advance the plot.
Yeah.
That's I agree. That raises a lot of eyebrows in my opinion.
And also, when you have established storylines and then someone comes and breaks it all because of reasons.
Yeah.
No, I'm not looking at The Last Jedi or anything, but
look, the horse is twitching. Beat it.
Yeah. Oh, well, what was the reason that Luke was on an island, secluded and living as a hermit, sucking on them big titties? Because he felt that he fucked up? Yeah, that's really consistent with its character from the old movies. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll buy that. Fuck off.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, there are millions of other reasons that he could have had for being on that island and living as a hermit or being secluded or whatever. But the reason given? Nah.
I mean, I would just have bought it if they would say he hides.
Yeah.
He's in hiding. Not like he's a grumpy old hermit.
Yeah.
Ashamed of what he've done. Like, alright, that's a bit dramatic, but
exactly.
Yeah, he hides because he needs to. I would have bought that. But yeah, also again, breaking the consistency for case of storytelling.
Yeah, but also we have the inconsistencies with Star Wars in that we actually talked about this before, the resistance.
Yeah, exactly. Why they are called the resistance.
Yeah, and the whole thing about the New Order and everything is like, no. No. It breaks the consistency.
Yeah.
It has totally fucked up the old story.
Exactly. And we're not talking about the expanded universe.
No.
Like, we're talking about the original...
The original trilogy.
Yes.
But
and
actually,
to some extent...
It's a good point to bring up here when it comes to the expanded universe. I think that the reason a lot of people love and respects the expanded universe is
Mm.
that it actually continued on. It did not break with the old.
Well, guess that's the thing. When you have people who writes these books and makes these games and all that, that are passionate, are actually, all right, here we go, gatekeeping the actual fans. No, but they actually understand and want to sort of build on the source material.
Mm-hmm.
They
Stand on the shoulders of giants.
Exactly, they respect the source material.
Mm-hmm.
The general difference between that and, like, we're gonna ride on a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
No names mentioned, but you know what
Yeah,
what the fuck I'm talking about.
And also, we have the way that the new Star Trek movies went.
Yeah, exactly.
That they said openly that this is a parallel universe, and that is
more
acceptable.
That is more acceptable.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because then you can have consistency with the already established stuff.
Exactly. And also, I would have accepted that. Okay, these sequels are parallel universe. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, but because I truly think that Disney should just say that, okay, what is now called episode 7 and 8, there are different parallel timelines stuff. Just ignore that shit. They tried, they failed. Go back.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But also, what else can I say? Yeah, when it comes to this breaking stuff, I've been looking into a lot of Age of Sigmar lately.
Yep.
And I've been looking at how the current Age of Sigmar connects with the old Warhammer Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know already, the old world, it broke. It went to shit because chaos took over. It actually turned it more or less into whatever you could call a chaos world in the Warhammer Fantasy. 40k, sorry.
Yeah.
In the Warhammer 40k world continuum.
Marvelous.
So, yeah. So there's a lot of in the fluff going to the point that it's called the end time, where the forces of chaos, or the powers of chaos, more or less, grabs hold of the world, ruins it, and more or less kills everyone and everything.
Yeah.
Except for, well, it's not really sure how everything connects, but the only ones that really did survive is the Lizardmen.
Oh, yeah. Those guys.
Yeah, and because they escaped on their big... They had spaceships, interesting enough. Actually, I do think that Skaven also survived because they sort of became part of chaos. Well, there were a lot of stuff in there. And
Nurgle be blessed.
Yeah, looking into all this fluff it's a mighty big task, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, it has sort of a massive lore rod to look upon.
And there have been a lot of people that is really angry about the way that the Warhammer Fantasy ended and Age of Sigmar took over, because in their minds and opinions, they Games Workshop destroyed all of the work done with the Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, I can see some.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
At the same time, for someone like me who haven't played Warhammer Fantasy, I was always more of a 40k player when I was younger. I have some looks at the old Warhammer Fantasy from time to time, but never really started with it. So now, looking at Age of Sigmar, it's no problem for me to getting into that game because I have no real deep connections with the old things.
Yeah.
And I think that might be an argument to make about a whole lot of stuff when it comes to, breaking the old, doing the new. If you don't have any real connections with the old, of course, you're not going to really care about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I don't care about the old Warhammer Fantasy. I think it's a bit sad that they just, wiped the world and made something new.
Yeah.
In a sense, because...
It's sort of a waste.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years of work just down the drain, more or less.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. But as always, I still think there's connections to the old moving on. Because Sigmar, the, well, human god of order, I think you could say, he actually took the core of the old world and used it to forge a new kind of warrior, the Stormcast Eternals, which some people describe as the fantasy version of the Space Marines. So, well, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So there's still connections, and you have the gods and everything, but it's still that Age of Sigmar is, in a sense, brand new.
Yeah.
So it's a reset.
Yeah.
So there is a consistency, I want to say, at least, because it connects to the old. It explains why things happens, how everything connects to the new.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not like just pushing a reset and say that, okay, everything that's old, no, fuck that, and move on.
Let's begin anew.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can totally see that when you have a work like this, a story, lore, and all that, I have noticed it's bound to change when it's not a. How can I describe this? Let's take J.K. Rowling, for example, and the Harry Potter universe, because it's starting to become more and more like a big universe. It's building more and more to it. And that's the thing. She's building more and more to it.
As she goes.
Which exactly.
In itself isn't a problem.
Exactly. But that there I can totally see why some inconsistencies comes up, because, well, there's a big chance you change some things. I'm not defending it, not at all. But
it's the way it's done, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. And I suppose you can also see that with like George R.R. Martin with the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, when it comes to the TV series
and his books, because they are sort of like,
at some point they
have branched.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as he writes, because I suppose he writes the episodes also.
I think he partakes in the production at least.
Yeah, productive advice or whatever. Just sitting there poking his belly button or something. Not writing.
When he should be writing, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But when you have something that moves along the way it does, stuff change.
Mm-hmm.
So I can totally see what sometimes, like with the Warhammer and Age of Sigmar, and it's very strong that they have managed to keep the lore consistent. That when they are changing it, oh no, wait, not changing it. Sorry, they are still writing it as they go.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's, I suppose that can be a problem with all sort of writers that they're writing their material.
It's just when stuff gets big, it could be hard to keep track of stuff, and also when you have multiple writers working on a thing.
Oh yeah.
That I think is the biggest problem. That the reason there are so many inconsistencies is that there are too many people working on a thing.
Yeah, but like, for example, if we can take an example for like, for example, your world or my world
or your world.
Yeah. Because it's very much in the making still. That I am bound to change something.
Yeah, well,
but that's the thing. I'm trying to manage keeping it consistent with the system I've designed. We've designed from the start. So yeah, that's also a good thing to build on.
Yeah, I can say that I've changed a whole lot of stuff when it comes to my game world.
Yeah.
And the reason that I do these changes is that I realized that the old stuff didn't really work out with the stuff that has recently been added. So, but I think the biggest difference here is, one, I'm not a published creator, so I mean it's not in the.
We have not published our worlds
exactly.
Yet, so
it's in a really early alpha stage. So at this point, it is okay to make changes.
Yeah.
It's when it comes to the point of establishing that it becomes a problem with just doing changes like that. And I always try to think like this: that what makes things believable and at the same time streamlined.
Yeah.
You make it easy to understand that, and you try to tell it in a way that is so, well, not to make it sound dumb, but you try to explain it in the most simple way you can, and not make it overly complex unless someone actually wants to really go into it.
Yeah, exactly. We've been looking at a video by DC Ferguson, I believe he's called. He's a author for some book series.
I think you have better
Yeah.
a better idea on this than I have.
I can't remember the book's names right now, but he said that he talked about magic and technology, and in the case of explaining how it works, he said the more you explain it, the more useful it becomes, and the more you don't explain it, the more mysterious it becomes. So yeah, it's. But he also talked about exactly keeping it believable, but that you don't have to make a sort of a big spreadsheet. Like, this is the technology or magic system in my. Everything works out. It would be fine if you had.
Yeah, exactly. But, as long as it just keeps consistent.
Exactly. But you can also keep it kind of floating in the air, not saying like, it works because of this. But not saying like, okay, why can you do that? Well, you just can. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's...
You need to set up some rules and play by these rules. But he also makes a point that at some point you have a antagonist showing up and breaking the rules, which in itself creates a problem. It creates drama and drive for the story.
Exactly.
So, I mean, breaking the rules is not a problem like that. It's just that it has to be done in a way that you actually can believe it. It's like, let's say you have a spacefaring civilization.
Yep.
And their means of travel is rocket propulsion, fuel, like we have.
Yeah, impulse.
Well, we have fuel drives.
Yeah.
Rockets and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a really slow way of traveling in space.
Yeah.
And at some point, we have gotten to a stage in our civilization where we actually have brought the efficiency of our technology to its highest point. We can travel long distances within a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Let's say we can go to Pluto in half a year to a year instead of
10 years.
Exactly. I'm not sure about the traveling time right now in real life, but bear with me
for the sake of argument.
For the sake of argument, yes, thank you. At some point, we have established a colony on Pluto. Because fuck you, we can. We don't have terraforming, but we do have the capability of building bases in
We have
space.
warm coats.
Yes, and oxygen masks.
Yeah. And the rest.
And the rest. But at some point, suddenly we encounter a ship. Unknown from nowhere. And this fucker just comes in and whooshes by. It breaks the rules we have.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we don't understand. We don't know how to do that, but they do.
We can understand the ionic propulsion system.
Exactly.
And all that.
And they have some sort of... Well, it doesn't really need to be an FTL drive, but they have a near speed of light drive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can travel really fast. Which means that we should be able to do at some point.
Yeah.
And as the story progresses, it might be that this, let's say it's a threat, just because evil aliens and
Xenos filth and all that.
Exactly. And with the usual tropes in the story, there is some people from our side that actually manage to beat the bad guys and send them back to wherever they came from. And at that point, we actually capture new technology.
Hey!
So at that point, we can start to discover what it actually is that makes it tick. And lo and behold, within a certain amount of time, we also have this way of propulsion.
Yeah.
It sticks to the consistency.
Yes.
Instead of another example, when it breaks consistency, though,
Mhm.
is that you have a hero. This fucker can, go around and is really good at fighting, but is crap at other stuff.
Thinking part.
Exactly. It could be, you have a barbarian.
Yeah.
You have, even better, you have Conan.
Yes.
Going around
Slashing, hacking.
slashing stuff with a sword and cursing at Crom for not blessing him. And suddenly, Conan stops and realizes the theory of the speed of light. It's like, what? That breaks consistency.
Yep.
And this is a ridiculous example, but here it's still reasonable as an example to explain why it's so bad of breaking consistency. Because if you have an established person that can do X and Y, if they suddenly can do Z as well, without any form of explanation, any form of logical reason to why that character can do that, then you break the immersion. Again, Star Wars, the way Rey can handle a lightsaber, can use the Force without any training, and there is no explanation in the following movie. It's like, fuck you! You break it! You have broken the rules you had set, and not in a way that we can actually believe it.
You have broken the rules for the sake of story or...
Yeah.
Exactly, for the sake of story.
Yeah. And that is a big crime, in my opinion, because we have the concept of plot armor.
Yeah.
And that is a dangerous thing. I like the way R.R. Martin does his things, because plot armor is non-existence. I have no problem with plot armor in the sense that if there is a good reason for it, not stupid reasons like, I'm going to take a role-playing example for this because I can't think of any good literature example. But you have a group and they're playing. One person in the group, one player decides to fuck things up. Do the realist
as per usual.
Yeah, there's always one. But you have one player that decides that, I'm going to go get into a fight with that big angry dragon over there. The one specifically designed as a scary moment where the players were supposed to run.
Yeah.
And that's actually the fault of the dungeon master for not counting on that one fucking player that's gonna fight it.
Shame on you.
But there is no fault done yet. The fault is done at the point where the dungeon master decides that, yeah, sure, I'm gonna have this stupid player survive the great fiery breath of the dragon because I need this character for my story.
Exactly.
There is no real reason. There is no logical way that this player's character would survive a direct fire blast to his face by a colossal dragon unless there is some sort of Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And using Deus Ex Machina is sort of the laziest fucking way ever to resolve a problem.
Yeah.
At some point, sure, you can use it, but just for sake? No. There has to be a good reason for it.
If it's consistent within the story that this item can do a certain amount of thing, then yes.
Exactly.
But if it comes out of the blue, like Conan knowing this theory of speed of light.
Exactly.
Because he needed it.
Yeah. Or did it even need it? It's just that suddenly he knows it.
Exactly.
For no apparent reason. Or for a reason which is just silly.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, to going back to the stupid player example, as a dungeon master, I have been told I am evil several times because I have no problems with characters dying. from stupid stuff.
Yeah, exactly. From stupid stuff. that I can agree that if they are going away doing stupid shit, then yes, I might just kill them because I don't know, have this parental thing like, no, well, you shouldn't have fucked with the dragon, should you?
I actually had one player do this. I feel like we're slipping away from the world building.
No, role playing. It's world building.
Yeah, I had a player. The game was Götterdämmerung.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a 17th century mystery horror role playing game. It's a Swedish game. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I had the adventure took place on Tortuga.
Oh yeah.
So it was a late stage of the Age of Piracy.
Almost piratey.
Yeah. And I had a character that was a owner of a brothel, kind of a stout woman, you could say. And she carried a lot of respect with the players. Not really because I designed her to be that. It's just that it came through playing. But anyways, I have this one player, a new guy, who's actually got it into his head that he was going to kill this brothel owner. And I just let him try it.
Go on, try it.
Yeah, it was like he busts in the door to her office and unloads his gun, which is a single-shot flintlock pistol. He misses. And from under her desk, the brothel owner pulls 2 guns, blasts him. I roll the die, it hits, and I make the damage, he dies. So, I mean, I was consistent, because I already had things like this written down. But I did not hold back.
No.
Because I think that if this player wanted to do this, he should suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
Keeping it consistent.
Exactly.
Now, I could have been the more lenient good guy DM and saying that
nah, she just kneecaps you.
Yeah,
like,
or she only threatens you that if you ever get the idea to do this again, I'm gonna fucking kill you and I got out of here. But no, I don't do that.
Nah.
And I actually think that it put some holds on the other players, because at that point they actually realized, shit, we are going to suffer consequences for our actions.
Yep.
And I don't want to have the stuff like this as some sort of demoralizing examples. I think that good behavior should be rewarded.
Yeah.
Daring behavior should also be rewarded. But stupidity has its own price.
Yeah.
If it had been different, that let's say the guns from the brothel owner had missed.
Yeah.
The dice had been more lenient to the player in this case.
Yeah.
Sure, she missed, and that's what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm gonna fudge the roll just because.
Yeah.
That would make me a bad dungeon master.
Yeah.
So a dungeon master needs to be fair. And in fairness, it is that if the dice say something, you should follow it.
Yeah, you don't sacrifice consistency, like dice consistency, I might add, for the sake of narrative.
Well, there are some certain points where you actually need to fudge the rolls. But it should be when it's let's say that you make a roll, or a player makes a roll, and it turns up a fumble.
Yeah,
a critical fail.
Yeah,
in a situation where it might be not that reasonable that it's going to be a critical fail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to make a small jump.
Yeah.
And this is just a nonsensical whatsoever when it comes to the effort or difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually something that has no bearing whatsoever on the story.
Yeah.
But the character fumbles the roll, or gets a critical fail, as it's said in English.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the effects might actually kill the character. At that point, I might actually go like, oh, this feels really stupid. I feel that we should actually fudge this.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just... That is sort of breaking the consistency. That is actually to sacrifice consistency for... story, in this case, to make the character survive.
Yeah.
But I think it's not to totally ignore
No.
what happens. It's just that instead of breaking his neck, he might break his foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I can totally understand why you want to fudge the fudge it up, because for the sake of let's save the horribleness for another time. But
Yeah.
I also like when you have this dye consistency, like for example, you're gonna jump over a little stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, throw the jump die.
Yeah, roll for jumping.
Exactly. Critical fail. Oh dear.
Suddenly, white shark jumps up from the stream and eats you.
Again, let's be realistic with
Yeah.
the... Like, for example, like, okay, do you land good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Like,
like
okay, you land
make a saving throw to see how bad you actually fall.
Yeah. Do you land good? Yes. Okay, then you, like you said, maybe it's break your ankle.
Yeah.
Do you land bad? Yeah, you're gonna impale your eye on a branch over there.
Which could actually happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, wouldn't that be a story? Hey, how did you lose your eye? Was it taken by a dragon? No, it was a twig when I was trying to jump over a stream.
But then you're gonna like try to play it up like, oh, it was a forest spriggan or something.
I was playing this forest spirit, and suddenly it tripped me, and I fell on a branch, and it poked my eye out. And then everyone else in the group's like, yeah, right, I'm not sure that happened.
Sure, branch eye. Twig eye.
Twiggy. Yeah.
And that's the name of the character Twiggy was born.
Actually.
But yeah, that's a little consistency in your world,
Mm-hmm.
in the name of world building, and like we have such
we
sights to show you.
Exactly. I feel that we really just were all over. So,
but I think it might be a good a good place to start.
Well, maybe we've enticed some people to want to have more.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We're gonna have to ask people.
Yeah. We're asking you right now, listening.
Yes,
Is
you
this-
sitting there.
Yeah. Commissar is watching. But do you, as a listener, think that this is some subject that we could go on with? Do you want to hear more? Maybe you have your own examples? Please tell us.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah. I'm doing my part. I got the song in my head now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we have a lot to talk about, like, for instance, magic and all that. And,
Magic, myth, more
Yeah.
lore. I mean, there's a big thing. Also, side note here.
Yeah.
When it comes to world building or world history and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I am quite more conservative with stuff when it comes to playing, role playing,
Yeah.
as an example, in our world.
Mm.
If I just gonna use, let's say, today as a setting,
Mm.
then screwing things up and going way out there with stuff happening, I have a harder time doing it that way, using our world as the basis
Mhm.
instead of creating my own,
Yeah.
to have a already imagined world, because at that point I don't have to really get all the details of history
Mhm.
exact, like in the way if I have a game going in a contemporary time setting,
Yeah.
I can't really ignore the happenings of let's say the Second World War.
Yeah.
I can't really ignore that, because that is such a major part of our history that shaped today's society.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna ignore that part, I really need to rethink everything.
Mm. Exactly.
So I can't have a story take place in today's Germany, let's say Berlin,
Yeah.
without the history.
Exactly.
Because if we didn't have the Second World War, there would have never been a divide in between the Western and Eastern Bloc. You would not have the way people think, live, and behave today.
Yeah.
It would be totally different.
Yeah.
And to have a world where people act and think the same way they do now,
Mm.
as if the history never happened.
Mm.
That would just be weird.
Yeah.
So I'm always more cautious when it comes to stuff in our world
Yeah,
than it is in an imaginary, or at least if it's close to.
Mm.
If it had taken place like 200-300 years in the future,
Yeah.
it would be of less importance. It would still carry a lot of weight, but
Yeah.
it would be less important than something partaking in, let's say, the 1960s.
Yeah.
Way different, because fluff matters.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure does. And exactly, and I am more of that. For instance, my world now. I have drawn a lot of, I'm not gonna say inspiration, because it's somewhat parallel to our universe, because you can say I've drawn inspiration from our history and the world that looks like today and all that. For instance, like you said, the Second World War. I have in this world, I have sort of smashed together First World War, between World War era and World War II, a little bit of Cold War, into one big major war. So that's gonna shape a lot, and that you can get away with a little more.
Yeah,
how it looks like today.
So it's like and here's the thing: you've actually made the changes.
Yeah,
and you made it clear that this
is not our world.
Resistance, exactly. The parallel existence. You made these changes, and you tell what changes you've done, and these play a part in shaping the way people are.
Yeah, exactly.
Consistency.
Hell yeah. So yeah,
a big rant.
Yeah, but like you can see, we're bursting with ideas and things we want to talk about. So
it's like we need a moderator sometimes.
Help us.
But yeah, leave your thoughts. We want to hear them.
We need a moderator or a miniseries or things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Any finishing thoughts?
No.
It's just empty in there.
It's broken. Do you hear crickets?
No.
No. Well, yeah.
So yeah. There's a thoughtful for you.
Yeah. So thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And hope you liked it. Leave a comment.
Leave a tweet if you want.
Yeah, tweet us at DRH Podcast.
And check out our YouTube channel and our Podbean site. And
we're on Spotify and iTunes and wherever you find podcasts, I guess.
We are everywhere.
Even in your bedroom, under your bed.
You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Again, thank you for listening and have a great day.
Ta-da.
Bye. Brother, do you love me?
Be strong, Clarence. Be strong for mother.